Ladies and gents, welcome to a very important video where you're going to receive advice not from me, someone who just runs an agency that's going to do about $2 million this year, but from a billionaire who founded LinkedIn and invested in companies like Airbnb and Google and a bunch of other companies. His name is Reid Hoffman. He's a phenomenal investor and a founder, and I highly recommend you read the book called Masters of Scale. He's also got another good book called Blitzscaling, but specifically, I want to take some points out of this book that I pulled out that was just phenomenal that I have to share with you. Okay, so first of all, if you're new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel that's dedicated to helping you scale an agency, to helping you start and scale an agency into the 7+ figure range. As I said earlier in this video, our agency that I founded back in 2016 is on pace to do about $2 million in revenue this year, which is really exciting. We've been through a lot of ups and downs over the last 6 years, and I've learned a lot, and I've been documenting the journey here on this YouTube channel. So tune in if you also are thinking of starting an agency or you have one and you want to scale up. Okay, so first of all, we're going to be talking about this concept of cultural co-founders, which is just such a cool term. Absolutely love it. And the importance of early hires. We're going to go through 5 points, okay? Number 1, a strong culture defines what really matters and how things are done, okay? And a strong culture, based on the definition that I just gave you, could mean that it's terrible for you and that you'll hate your life, because if the culture has very strongly defined what matters and how things are done in a terrible way, then you're most certainly going to hate your life and leave the company. If it defines, what really matters and how things are done in the most best way possible, it's optimal for the growth of the company and everybody within it, you're going to absolutely love your life and this thing is going to blitz scale to the moon. Okay? Now, number 2, your first hires are more than just team members. They are cultural co-founders. I've never heard this before, but it is such a phenomenal expression. It is so good and it's so true. Having founded my own company and gone through the process of starting it by myself and then hiring people that turned out to be terrible hires and made my life an absolute hell, for lack of better words. And then having hired people that made my life absolute heaven and helped us scale the company tremendously faster without my involvement in a lot of areas of the business. I'm speaking from experience here that, yes, the first hires are not just team members. They are literal cultural co-founders, okay? And this is why early mishires will kill you. I mean, from speaking from personal experience here, in my agency, Better AMS, the first hire that I made was it was a virtual assistant, and that went well. And then the second hire was another virtual assistant, and that went well. But these are people that are not necessarily in my day-to-day and that I speak with too often. The third hire I made was somebody that was onshore. And he was actually my best friend from high school. Now, this is kind of a mistake. I didn't know where to go or who to talk to or how to hire anybody. And there was nobody on YouTube making videos about how to hire talent like this channel that I've made does. But when I hired him, it was helpful and beneficial to a certain degree. And then the partnership, it became a partnership, literally, started to implode. And it just really didn't go the direction that I wanted to go or he wanted to go. And there was a lot of misalignment, along with another hire that we had made that was terrible that we had to fire and let go of immediately. And so for 2 years, I had, been largely part of the company, working 100+ hours a week. And then at the end of 2 years, I had let go of pretty much the entire team that I had hired, the onshore team, which was primarily just about 2 or 3 people. I think it was 3 people. And then right as I'd let go of everybody, I ended up hiring somebody that was one of the best hires I've ever made. And she's now the CEO of our agency, and her name is Destiny. And so, had I known what a bad hire was and what a good hire was, it would have saved me a lot of time and energy and helped me grow the company a lot further from a much earlier point. But unfortunately, there was a lot of unknowns. I hadn't read this book, And I just really wasn't aware of the importance of the early hires and how they are truly cultural co-founders. Now, number 4, strength is a measurement of how much culture shapes team members for good or ill. Okay, so number 4 is really important because, like we said in the beginning of this video, strength can be a very strong culture, can be bad or good, depending on how you've defined the culture. And so when you have a really strong culture, the way you measure a strong culture from Reid Hoffman's perspective, billionaire, co-founder of LinkedIn, phenomenal track record. This isn't even coming from me, okay? From his perspective, it's a measurement of how much this culture shapes team members for good or bad. Now, this is such a phenomenal way to measure culture, right? Because as we said earlier, culture is, from his definition in the book, Masters of Scale, defining what really matters and how things are done. And so if somebody joins your company and within 3 months, the culture virus has entered their body and it's just shifted and changed them, essentially just mutated them into this person that is optimizing for what really matters and how things need to get done based on the cultural norms that have been set. That is the definition of a really strong culture. Somebody comes in and they're just wow, okay, this is the culture, this is what matters, this is how things need to be done, and they're plugged in and they're rowing in the same direction as everybody else, and what matters most to them is what matters a lot within alignment with everybody else, and how things are being done is within alignment, etc. So if it takes them 2 years to pick up on what the culture is like, that's an example of a not so strong culture that's pretty weak, right? Why is it taking them so long? Okay, so that's a really important definition as well. And the final thing, number 5, early hires not only set cultural norms, but they also ensure those norms are self-perpetuating. Just think about it. The first 5 to 10 people that you hire, within those people, they're going to largely impact and influence the next 10 to 20 people that you hire, right? And not only from the perspective of influence within the decision-making of your hiring process, but from the perspective of working alongside the people that you hire, right? So there's a massive influence. And so you can start to see this crazy ripple effect where if you made 2 or 3 poor hires in the beginning, you'd be lucky to make 10 more hires and still have a company. Why? Because like I said, it's this ripple effect of those 2 to 3 bad hires are going to create this self-perpetuating machine of terrible hires. And it's going to eventually lead to a company where you absolutely hate your life. And you may reach the point that I reached where I'm just absolutely burned out. I need to leave the agency because I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't have the guidance that I really needed. Okay? I cannot overstate the importance of the 5 things that we went through in this video. I still worry that you probably won't get it. You probably will just hear it and think that makes a lot of sense. Taylor, what he's saying in this video is good information. Having been through it though, I can tell you there's probably no other video on this channel that's more important than this one. And unfortunately, it's not something that's easy to comprehend, not having been through the mistakes and not having seen, what it's like when you don't make the mistakes. So hopefully I conveyed this well, but I highly recommend you check out this book, Masters of Scale. It's a phenomenal book. Like I said, it's by Reid Hoffman, co-founder of LinkedIn, an investor in many phenomenal tech companies that everybody knows. So ladies and gents, if you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button. It's the only thing I ask of you to do on this channel to support the channel. Maybe you can also hit the like button and drop me a comment if you have any questions, concerns, thoughts around this video, things that weren't necessarily clear, or if you have ideas for future videos that you'd like me to do. I've often made videos based on people's comments, so that's always an option. Okay, ladies and gents, thanks so much for watching this, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.
Hey friend, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to watch another one that's extremely valuable, I just selected it for you, and you can check it out by clicking it right there on the other side of the screen across from my face. All right, friend, enjoy. Thanks for watching the channel.